And welcome to week 5 of Fascism in Europe. This week we're going to be doing two slightly different things. The first is we're going to be focusing specifically on the theme of gender in the context of 1930s Italy. I'm really interested to explore the way in which women are being treated within the context of fascism, exploring some of those ongoing hypocrisies that we've seen run throughout all of the sessions so far. I also want to think a little bit about some of the social and cultural responses to the fascist authority and regime, and this will lead us to a consideration of some fairly sensitive artwork. Yep, it's going to be one of those sessions. At the same time, I'm shifting emphasis on our card opening packs, feeding off of the good luck that the third years have brought us every single week so far, and we are opening 3 packs of Champions Path cards. The box behind me remains unopened. These are from a different set, but we're going to try and look at them all the same and hope for some good luck. So, in the context of Italian fascism, there are similar inconsistencies and hypocrisies that we've dealt with in previous sessions. Most notably, the rhetoric that is highly hostile towards women seems out of place, given the role of figures like Martina Sarfatti, the lover and former colleague of Mussolini. She plays a hugely influential role in his early work, and they have that relationship. Let's get it going. They have that working relationship, and they stay very close right up until the point that the rhetoric of Italian fascism embraces the anti-Semitic narrative of Nazism, and she departs. Up until that point, she has been a major source of influence and one of Mussolini's most consistent lovers. So there are these strong women who appear in the background of these narratives. But more generally, what we'll be focusing on in particular is the propaganda-based narrative. So think, have you got an example on that side of the screen? Thinking of the way in which women are being conditioned and cultured to accept a particular way of life in Italy. So a lot of the freedoms and privileges that were in place prior to the dawn of fascism begin to be stripped back. So things like the employment sector scales back dramatically. Academia becomes a glass ceiling. That's something that's introduced as part of Italian fascism. Generally, these efforts to curb the capacity... Ooh, hello. Well, I've never had one of those before. Shiny metal energy. Cool. Last card. Ooh, it's the 30s. Okay, so it's not rainbow, but it's something. Oh, Alcremie V! Oh, okay. What did I say? I said, let the 30s open the most expensive pack that we could possibly conceive at this point in time. And there it is. How about that? Okay. Right, I think this is just an extra reading. I don't think this is a secret card. No, I don't think so. I can't really make out the lettering. The lighting in here is terrible. But what a good start. Okay. Good stuff with the third years always coming through for me. Let's keep it going. Let's see what else is in there. We were talking about propaganda. So about conditioning women to accept a profoundly different work environment. So the shift in emphasis, perhaps unsurprisingly, if you have a basic general knowledge of the emphases of politics in Italy, becomes on stay-at-home mothers and the focus on childbirth. The expectation of women in Italy becomes almost exclusively focused on increasing the population of Italy. So this is part of the battle for births. And we've talked previously about this ongoing warfare narrative, this rhetoric that comes through very, very strongly. And that will dominate the female experience. There are some fascinating challenges to this. We have a number of prominent female athletes who, through their success, forces a shift in the agenda or the rhetoric of the fascist state. We'll talk about some of the Olympic athletes who come to the fore, especially in the second of the Olympics that Italy participates in as a fascist state. their success on the track forces a shift in the focus of propaganda to start recognizing women as sporting and athletic competitors, which is something that was sort of inconceivable as you go through the 1920s and into the early part of the 1930s. So there is a response that takes place, but generally speaking, the emphasis... Oh, look at that too! Okay. Last car. Oh, you're kidding me. It's not. It's Alcremie again! What are the chances of that? And that, ladies and gentlemen of the third years, is your double. This is the thing that is going in the pot. So if you have a passing interest or a great love or a complete disinterest in Pokemon cards, this is what you have now got a chance to win. The best paper that gets submitted. And this is a bit tricky because your first submission is actually formative. So this goes into the pot for the overall best submission at the end of the academic year. Alcremie could be yours. That is ridiculous. We go from nothing to 2 V cards in 2 packs. Okay. There we go. The other thing that we're going to be talking about in relation to gender in Italy is some of the artistic responses to this. So, of course, actually, generally speaking, there's quite a high level of acceptance and uptake of the changes introduced by the fascist state in relation to women. You see a lot of, in particular, rural female fascist organisations that exist purely to push that rhetoric even further. And how are we going to finish this? Who knows? But figures like Olga Carolina Rama really stand out as being incredibly provocative artists for the time. This is where pornography comes back into things. Rama produces a series of highly graphic pornographic paintings, which feature, amongst other things, masturbation and bestiality. And she portrays this fairly graphically, and we will look at this during the session. So this is your heads up and due warning that that's going to take place. But we're going to be thinking about some of the ways in which she confronts the narrative of the fascist state through that artwork, and think about some of the narratives that she's trying to draw out, which critique the state directly, which I think is a really interesting way to approach the material. And you know me, there's always a pornographic session in one of these modules at one point or another. I think it's a safe finish. Okay, Lycan Rock, it's a nice card, but it's not a rare one. But look at that. How about that? Well done, the third years. What are the chances of getting both of these out in just consecutive packs? That's crazy. That's some bad shuffling by the Pokemon Company. Okay, cool. So that's what we're doing this week. Thinking about Italy, gender, athletics, the battle for births, and artistic pornography. It's all part of the course in this module, as are great Pokemon pulls. Look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. And you know what? We're coming very close to the third years opening that box if we continue in this vein. All right. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Tuesday.